100 jaw-dropping historical photos you must see. Marilyn Monroe standing on her head. Jean Libera, also known as the double-bodied man, had his parasitic brother, Jacques Libera, connected to him from his chest-stomach area. Australian supermodel, actress, and designer, Elle Macpherson, 1988. In 1907, a British sailor is seen unshackling an enslaved man who had been chained for 3 years. Linda Evangelista, 1992. Photo, Stephen Meisel. British POWs after their release from Japanese captivity in Singapore, 1945. A Balinese woman learning to use a camera, 1934. A man proudly sits with his collection of severed heads. Wedding photo of Elvis and Priscilla Presley, May 1st, 1967. A photo from the Victorian era, no surprise there. "80-year-old Cannibal Tom, the last cannibal of Fiji, 1905. A family photo from the 1800s. Monica Bellucci and American model Shauna Zadrick in a stylish scuffle on a car trunk, 1994. Charlie Chaplin meeting Helen Keller, 1910. French farmers and their sheep protesting at the Eiffel Tower against a military base being built on their land, 1972. A jail cell used during the Salem witch trials. Who was behind the mask of Halloween's Michael Myers? Actor Nick Castle jokes behind the scenes. Coal miners returning from the depths after a day's work. Belgium, circa 1900. Alice Cooper and Salvador Dali. Russian soldiers wear creepy costumes during an impromptu performance during a lull in the fighting during World War I. Muhammad Ali teaching singer Sammy Davis Jr. how to box. A man on the porch of his cabin, Eagle Creek, Murray, Idaho, 1889. Witnesses used to testify against the Mafia, 1969. People gathered in front of stores in a small town, Eureka Springs, Arkansas, 1880. A prisoner in a French jail. Mustache tattoos were made as a form of protest against the administration, France, 1900s. 3 beautiful children from the 1900s. Björk, 1991. Fire truck racing. Past the Teacup Inn on F Street, Washington, D.C., 1914. Shell carrier during the Nigerian Civil War, 1968. Post Office and Eagle Building, Brooklyn, New York, 1906. Picnic on a highway during the fuel crisis, the Netherlands, November 4th, 1973. Traffic safety in Washington with the Treasury Building, 1913. Raquel Welch, an American sex symbol of the 70s. Grand Central Station and Hotel Manhattan, New York, 1903. Armored vehicles disguised as elephants. India, 1941. Jefferson Market Courthouse, now a library, New York City, 1905. Lost and found room at a police station, Paris, 1954. Newspaper Row, Washington Street, Boston, Massachusetts, 1906. A New York police marksman testing the strength of bulletproof glass, 1931. Government Square, Cincinnati, Ohio, 1905. '41st U.S. President George Bush awarding pop singer Michael Jackson the Artist of the Decade Award at the White House, Washington, D.C., April 5, 1990. Broadway and Times Building, New York, 1915. A Young Girl on the Beach, Deauville, France, 1920s. Woman suffrage hikers arriving in Washington from New York, 1913. British rock band Pink Floyd, 1967. Walnut Street, Cincinnati, Ohio, 1910. Disoriented birds during a total solar eclipse, Chiapas, Mexico, July, 1991. Dexter Avenue and the Capitol, Montgomery, Alabama, 1906. Linda Evangelista, 1990s. City Hall Post Office, New York, 1905. A girl from the Ouled Nail tribe in Algeria, photographed by Rudolf Lehnert, 1904. Fifth Avenue, looking north, 1913. Justice in China. A prisoner kneels on chains with their pinkies tied. Mukden, 1906. Bridge of Sighs, Manhattan, 1907. Punk Girl, Berlin, Germany, 1982. Fifth Avenue Easter, New York, 1913. An Italian family heading for a vacation in their tiny Fiat 500, 1967. Wall Street, 1911. A pinsetter in a bowling alley, USA, 1935. The New York Public Library, New York, 1915. Puffy the Cat, credited with hypnotizing over 300 people with its huge, unblinking eyes, 1944. Wabash Avenue, Chicago, 1907. Ten-year-old George Davy, sentenced to a month of hard labor for stealing 2 rabbits, London, 1872. Fifth Avenue at 51st Street, New York, 1913. Sophia Loren enjoying a spectacular view from her hotel balcony at the Carlton in Cannes, France, 1955. Let's enjoy it too. Subway fire at West 55th Street, Broadway, 1915. February 14th, 1974, Birmingham, Radio BRMB News Department. Manhattan Bridge as seen from Brooklyn, 1909. '70s fashion. Broad Street north from Spruce, Philadelphia, 1905. .105mm shells from an Allied bombardment, all fired in a single day on German lines, 1916. Avenue and 42nd Street, New York, 1910. A desert of fire in Kuwait, 1991. February 17th, 1974. Private First Class. Robert K. Preston hijacked a helicopter from Fort Meade, Maryland, and landed it on the south lawn of the White House. A doll with 2 faces. Mother and son, in a photograph taken in Lisdoonvarna, Ireland. The son, a ballad singer, holds a printed poem. A Dutch athlete receives a portrait of Adolf Hitler as a sports prize. February 25, 1974. Havana, Cuba. Photo by Klaus Morgenstern. A French woman welcomes an American soldier 2 days after liberation. Strasbourg, France, 22nd November, 1944. John F. Kennedy talking with citizens, 1960. A Little Gang from Ohio, 1936. Ultra-light horse-drawn car, Paris, 1943. A Mickey Mouse gas mask for American children during World War II, 1942. Future Hollywood star Milla Jovovich with her parents, 1980s. A mountain boy fetches water from a spring, Great Smoky Mountains, Sevier County, Tennessee, circa 1950. A photo from Thomas Annan's series, The Old Closes and Streets of Glasgow, 1868. A public urinal located in Paris, 1875. Charles Godefroy, flying through the Arc de Triomphe in Paris. The archway is 29.42 meters tall and 14.62 meters wide. The airplane's wingspan was 9 meters. A school in Seattle, 144 years ago. Puritan protest against revealing swimsuits on a Florida beach, USA, 1985. A U.S. Air Force lieutenant is held captive by a young North Vietnamese soldier, 1967. A view of the U.S. Capitol building dome under construction in 1857. A pig being treated for a skin condition with sunbathing. Charity Veterinary Clinic, Ilford, UK, 1938. A wheat field in the heart of Manhattan, 1982. Polar Explorer, 1909. A woman churning milk to butter while reading a book, 1897. Passengers on the New York subway without newspapers during the city's newspaper strike, 1953. A woman using a spinning wheel outside of her log cabin, 1918. Two Mickey Mouses meeting on a Paris street in the early 1930s. A worm machine, 1957. Danny Trejo and Antonio Banderas on the set of Desperado, 1994. A clown on his lunch break. Offices of the Central Social Institution in Prague, 1937, Czechoslovakia. It held the largest vertical document storage system in the world. Main Street from 11th, Richmond, Virginia, 1905. American officers Lieutenant Column Ben Thompson and Virgil Happy with stacks of money in the Magdeburg Bank vault, about $280 million. 1945. 9th Street, Washington, D.C., 1915. A crowded beach in Atlantic City, USA, 1908. Cadillac Square, Detroit, Michigan, 1916. Two Kashmiri giants pose with American photographer James Ricalton, 1903. Woodward Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 1917. Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet goofing around on the set of Titanic. Thompson, Dairy Wagons, Washington, D.C., 1927. Even bodybuilding legend Arnold Schwarzenegger looks small next to basketball player Shaquille O'Neal. Sutter Street, up from Grant Avenue. After the earthquake, San Francisco, 1906. Future Bond, Sean Connery as a child. Bathing in front of the big hotels, Atlantic City, 1915. A smoke break on the set of Ghostbusters. Forsyth Street, west from Main Jacksonville, Florida, 1910. Writer Mark Twain. Louisville and Nashville Railway Station, Florida, 1910. Roger Moore, the actor who played James Bond with a mustache and beard. Memphis Main Street, north from Gayoso Avenue, 1910. Paul McCartney with his daughter Stella. Pink Floyd looking like students sent to work on a farm. Diane Keaton and Al Pacino on the set of The Godfather. Their fame was just beginning. Bill Gates, before he earned his first billion. Tupac Shakur. Gene Simmons of Kiss briefly joining the Beastie Boys. Artist Andy Warhol whispers something to John Lennon. Michael Jackson, Freddie Mercury, and John Deacon. Jodie Foster on a skateboard. Spielberg directing combined shots. Writer Charles Bukowski and actor Sean Penn. Young Jim Morrison, future frontman of The Doors. Renowned playwright Bernard Shaw at the beach. Akira Kurosawa, Sidney Pollack, Barbra Streisand, and John Huston. A Young Boy and His Dog, 1889. Elvis Presley on a roller coaster with his girlfriend Anita Wood, a singer and actress. American women welders during World War II. Clint Eastwood peeling potatoes. An anti-communist revolutionary holds a Molotov cocktail behind his back during the 1956 Hungarian Revolution. Director Martin Scorsese in a taxi with Robert De Niro. An early version of Ronald McDonald. A 1911 photograph shows young women in a reformatory in England. The image highlights disciplinary methods, later discontinued by the mid-20th century. Barefoot kids at a mobile book cart in the Appalachian Mountains. Bob Dylan. Cats wait for the fisherman to return. Istanbul, 1970s. It's clear that as a child, Gary Oldman didn't aspire to become an actor. An unsettling vintage Halloween costume. Marlon Brando and Charlie Chaplin. Either some kind of elephant trick or moments before disaster. Max Schreck relaxes behind the scenes of Nosferatu, 1922. Halloween during the 1930s. Mount Sakurajima erupts in 1914. A human serpent distracts other soldiers on the front. France, World War I, 1915. In November 1966, stagnant air trapped toxic smog over New York City for 3 days, killing 168 people. John Wayne Gacy as a child. Ozark Mountain family at their cabin in Arkansas. A knife thrower and child in the 1940s. Lon Chaney as a clown, 1928. Leon County Sheriff reading the Chi Omega sorority indictment to Ted Bundy. Signed photo of First Lady Rosalind Carter and John Wayne Gacy in 1978. The Jersey Shore, Atlantic City, 1910. Survivors from the 87th floor of the World Trade Center, North Tower, wandering in the dust after the collapse of the South Tower. Main Street, looking toward Liberty, New York, 1912. The Hilo Tsunami, 1946. "100 Rare Historical Photos That Will Leave You Amazed." Jerome Avenue, IRT Line, 1980. Passengers are seated in a graffitied carriage as a woman looks straight at the camera. In the 1930s, this couple won an Atlantic City dance marathon after dancing for 1,473 hours. Getting to the office, Grand Central Station, 1983. The disconnect between commuters is highlighted in this desolate image. And yes, people did fall asleep, standing up while dancing at these marathons. On the beat, police control, 72nd Street Station, West Side IRT Line, 1977. A police officer looks out over the platform beside a grimy subway train. These are the contestants in the 1930 Miss Lovely Eyes beauty pageant, a contest where a woman had to wear an absolutely terrifying mask so that only her eyes were visible. Salvador Dalí, painting The Face of War, 1941. This 3,000-pound absolute unit is Lubber, the world's largest horse back in 1930. skate to work, save gas. Easter Bunny costumes were absolutely horrifying in the 1950s. Red Cross women dancing with soldiers. This poster from the late 1800s advertises a fight between the world's thinnest man and the world's fattest man. At the Venice Pier Funhouse in 1940, as the bowl spins, people fight for leverage to stay in the center. This is the Dynasphere, a giant wheel vehicle invented by Dr. J.A. Purvis that could go as fast as 30 mph. Swing dancing in the 1940s. The very first iteration of Ronald McDonald was created by Willard Scott in 1963. "1940s men hamming it up in Victorian bathing suits. This is how condoms were tested in the 1930s. A group of 1940s students doing their schoolwork while drinking some Coca-Cola. For a brief but wondrous moment in time, you could get potatoes from a vending machine. The use of masks during the Spanish flu pandemic, 1918. Karl Marx, London, 1875. A man standing in the lumberyard of Seattle Cedar Lumber Manufacturing, 1939. Soviet rock fans attend a concert in Moscow on September 28, 1991. 500,000 people jammed an airfield to see the Soviet Union's biggest Western rock concert, touted as a gift to Russian youth for their resistance last month's coup. Joseph Goebbels photobombs Adolf Hitler, 1933. (1940s) Navy diver. Whiskey vending machine in the 50s. Cool camera trickery in 1945. Beer vending machines were also a thing in 50s. Danish explorer Peter Freuchen and his wife Dagmar Freuchen Gale, 1947. Before modern car washes were invented, one particularly wacky idea was for cars to drive around through water in a circle. Tattoo parlor, 1942. Someone had to hand-carve all of the presidents' eyes on Mount Rushmore. With much of the decade dominated by World War II, the 1940s have not gone down in history as the happiest of times. Tourists used to be able to freely climb up the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt to sunbathe and have tea parties. Miss America contestants in 1945. For some reason unbeknownst to me, in 1920, a policeman did this off a building in New York. "1940s Sweethearts." Car seats for children were incredibly dangerous in the 1940s. Trying to stay cool in the summer, NYC, 1943. The original design for the Michelin Man was absolutely terrifying. Two sailors celebrating the end of World War II. This is what an early design for an electric hairdryer looked like. Ladies looking fabulous on their bikes. This is what a real deal, true-to-life Muffin Man looked like in 1930s London. Franco, Ford, and Kissinger, 1975. This is one of the earliest designs for roller skates. They didn't catch on for some reason. Battleship USS South Carolina, BB-26, dry docked at the Brooklyn Navy Yard, September 1912. In the 60s, you could buy a mail-order squirrel monkey for $18.95. The temporary grave of Theodore Roosevelt in Normandy, soon after his death, July 1944. In 1909, pigs finally flew. Icarus the pig, Wright, went on a short flight with John Moore Brabazon and finally did the impossible. This is the Viewphone, a video phone developed by Toshiba in 1964 that allowed for real-time proto-FaceTiming. Dangerous Ride, Boy Clinging Outside, a subway car, 1978. A boy holds on to the top of the carriage doors as the train prepares to depart from Franklin Avenue Station. California once had a place called the California Alligator Farm, where children were encouraged to get up close and personal with alligators and even take them for rides. Conversation on the A train, Subway NY, 1982. Two passengers chat to one another beside a tequila poster in a shot taken through the window of the carriage. In the early 1900s, one way to transport tons of materials and train parts was to suspend it hundreds of feet in the air and tow it across a canyon. This photograph was taken during Mahatma Gandhi's funeral rally in New Delhi. Due to the massive crowd, some onlookers climbed poles to get a better view of Gandhi's deceased body, dated 1948. The Soviet bombing of Helsinki in the middle of the Soviet-Finnish War, the main building of Helsinki University on Senate Square, burns during the night, November 30th, 1939. Dmitry Debabov, construction of Magnitogorsk, Russia, 1930. Charlie Chaplin and Walter Disney at the racetrack, late 1930s. USS Samuel B. Roberts, transported by the heavy-lift ship Might Servant II, 1988. The USS Samuel B. Roberts was damaged by a $1,500 Iranian mine in the Persian Gulf. The repair cost $89.5 million USD. George Harrison and Mum Louise at Home Speak Liverpool, 1961. Swedish Major Eric Bonda smokes a cigarette after being ambushed and shot twice. Congo, 1961. Korean mother embraces her son, a prisoner of war who escaped his North Korean POW camp shortly after the signing of the Korean Armistice Agreement, which ended the widespread fighting of the Korean War, 1953. Riding together, Subway, New York. A woman grimaces beside her partner as a tired man looks on. This man won a costume competition in 1894 while dressed as a piece of bacon. After the rehearsal, Columbus Circle, Subway NY, 1982. Dancers wait on the platform to return to their homes as a train rumbles past. This is a real 19th century advertisement for cough medicine with a very special ingredient: heroin. Elevated station, 180, St. Queens, New York, 1982. A man walks down the iron steps to a platform overlooking residential buildings. In 1876, Virgil A. Gates patented the mustache guard, an absolutely brilliant invention for holding the mustache out of the way of food or liquid while eating or drinking. A Train to Brighton Beach, 1977. An everyday scene from late 70s New York. During World War II, Walt Disney developed a Mickey Mouse gas mask designed to help children get comfortable and relaxed while wearing the mask. Here's a totally not frightening close-up. Ghetto Blaster, Man Waiting, 72nd Street Station, West Side IRT Line, 1977. Conductor between subway cars. A conductor peers out over the platform. This is Herman the Cat, a cat who was given the title of Expert Mouser aboard a U.S. Coast Guard ship during World War II. World War II, Youth Party Girls' Attention, 1930-1940s. This is the world's longest limo, the American Dream limo. Frank Sinatra getting off a helicopter with a drink in hand, photographed by Yul Brynner in 1964. On September 3, 1967, Sweden made a shift from driving on the left side of the road to driving on the right. This is a picture from the first day after the big change. Marlon Weskoff and Ruth Lichterman, reprogramming ENIAC, the first general-purpose electronic computer, in 1946. This is what a gym looked like 2 centuries ago in 1831. Schoolgirls on the A train to Far Rockaway, New York, 1978. A group of friends chat idly while slumped in their seats. This totally safe device was known as a baby cage, a wire cage suspended out of an apartment window meant to give babies born in cities extra light and air. Rush hour on Lexington IRT. A woman looks out of the window on a crowded subway train. This is 455-pound Piet van der Zward, a.k.a. the fattest man in Europe, in 1955. Downtown Express 72nd Street Station, West Side IRT, 1977. Residents wait on the platform as a subway train rushes past. This is Pauline Musters, the shortest woman ever to live. Woman lounging in the beach with Allied supplies and artillery pieces after the Dunkirk evacuation, 1940. Stalin carrying his daughter Svetlana at his country house in Moscow, 1937. Prince Adalbert of Prussia with his son, 1941. Marx Engels Lenin mural in Ethiopia, 1976-1979. Two French men restrain a woman, while another cuts her hair after she has been accused of collaborating with the Germans during the occupation, 1945. Cooking pork over an open pit, Braswell Plantation, near Rocky Mount, North Carolina, USA, September 1944. Chinese President Jiang Zemin and Henry Kissinger, 1995. Photographs of everyday life in 1950s New York City discovered in an attic 45 years later. All images courtesy of Soren Larson. C. Frank Larson. One of the more ridiculous inventions of the 19th century was this, a mass shaving machine designed to shave a bunch of men all at once. Piles of rifles surrendered by German soldiers after the end of the Second World War, 1945. In 1908, huge crowds gathered in Boston to watch Harry Houdini jump off a bridge while tied up in chains. American soldier trying to catch a goldfish in the marble-lined pool of the Taj Mahal, WWII, 1942. Speaking of other things that didn't catch on, this was a proposed firefighting suit designed to drench the wearer in water. During the 1990s economic crisis, Russian teachers were paid with vodka bottles. This is Venus the Bulldog, the official mascot of the HMS Vansittart, a World War II destroyer in the Royal Navy. Padang women asking a London policeman for directions, 1935. This is what a mobile home looked like in the 1930s. A British Indian soldier gives the V for victory sign from a porthole of a ship on his arrival to Singapore, 1941. One of the more creative ways bootleggers would hide alcohol during Prohibition was inside trucks lined with wood, complete with a tiny trapdoor. A picture of the 1933 and first Reichserntedankfest at Buckeberg, a festival meant as recognition for the German farmers and also used as a propaganda tool for the Nazis. In 1961, auditions were held for the role of the Black Cat in the film adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's The Black Cat. Lots of black cats showed up. Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein, and Ghislaine Maxwell at the White House in 1993. Fiat once had a car factory with a working test track on the roof. Atomic bomb testing, Nevada, 1955. This is Jack the Baboon, a South African baboon who worked as a signalman at a railway station in the 1800s. During his almost decade of railway work, Jack never made a single mistake. German soldiers being forced to watch footage of Nazi concentration camps, 1945. Here's Hannes de Jong, the 1970 pole-sitting world champion. Well, sitting on a pole. Marilyn Monroe's concert for Turkish soldiers in Korea, 1954. Before the invention of radar, soldiers used big old Looney Tunes-looking contraptions to listen for enemy planes. Children, the Gorbals, Glasgow, 1958. This is the Peel P50, the smallest car ever produced. The control room at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant continues to operate after the disaster, circa July-August 1986. Wow, what a journey through history. These 100 jaw-dropping photos have truly shown us moments that have shaped the world as we know it. Did any of these photos stand out to you? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this glimpse into history, be sure to check out our other videos, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who loves the past. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more unforgettable moments.